Today we would be covering on performance appraisal and employee engagement activities and grievance handling and some parts of the compliances and the labor laws. All right. So as we have been discussing since the beginning that some of the areas of HR is very critical for any organization. So just confirm if you guys can hear me. I'll just ask you guys. Can you guys hear me properly? All right. So, 1 second. So, performance management is one of those areas which becomes very critical for any organization because as we were discussing yesterday also, and just give me 1 second. Okay. So, appraisal or what you say is the performance appraisal is a very important aspect of any organization which actually makes and breaks for the organization. As a matter of fact, everyone who has worked or who are working, they have gone through the appraisal or they are going through the appraisal so many times in their professional life. Now you must have seen, some people are dissatisfied, some people are satisfied. So as an HR you have to make sure that you do the proper performance appraisal, right? So now the question is what exactly this performance appraisal means. Just give me 1 second. So again, look at from both point of view, whether it's management or the employees. Once you're working in any organization, you don't really want to be stay at the same place, or you don't really want to be taking the same kind of salary or same kind of incentives. You want some raise in your salary, as well as you want a good some promotions in your profile also. So, and this is where this performance appraisal comes into the picture. And from the management side also, management also have to understand whether you are the right person to get any kind of raise in terms of monetary benefits, or any kind of promotion can you do that is required for you or not. So in a very simple term, performance appraisal is nothing but it's a method of evaluating you, that have you improved in your professional work or not. And those improvements are done in numbers. As I told you, in HR usually people do not discuss a lot about the numbers, but in performance appraisal this is all about the numbers. This is all about the grading. It's like your exams which you have to clear with the flying colors. This is what exactly it is. So the objective of appraisal is that as an employer you check how exactly the employee is performing, what are the areas of improvement which can be developed, the supervisor how they can help them, and the job which is going on, whether that's going good or not. So appraisal is usually done on two parameters. Earlier appraisal was only on your work related, like what kind of target you have achieved, how many customers you have acquired, or it was all about the business and business. But now for the last 5 7 years or over a period of time, the management or the companies have realized it's not only about the work related parameters which are required in PA. Some behavior related parameters are also required. So nowadays, when all right, so Now the focus is also on behavior related parameters as well. So once you, and you guys must have seen that also, once you go in that performance appraisal, there are two broader parameters. One is related to your work, and you have some sub parameters in that, and then you have related to your behavior. So this is where the appraisal. So appraisal is nothing. It's like, it's the method of evaluating your behavior, your work, your performance. What exactly are you doing in terms of the quantitative, and as well as the what kind of quality are you giving. So why a company performs an appraisal, as we were discussing, so that we can check where do you stand. Like, you joined 6 months back or 1 year back, have you improved yourself or not, and the purpose for which you were hired, have you fulfilled that purpose or not. So the reason for performance appraisal is it gives you the information about the performance, the salary revision if it is required, or if you require any kind of promotion or demotion. It also gives the information about your achievements, like what are you achieving your targets on a regular basis, is your behavior good to your subordinates or to your superiors. Moreover, after the performance appraisal, it also gives the information to the management if there is any gap which can be filled, or if there is any kind of deficiency, or if there is any kind of areas of improvement which is needed, so that they can plan the training program as per that requirement. So usually you guys must have seen it that the appraisal happens every once in a year. Usually it happens from April to April, but there are some organization who does it half yearly also. So every 6 months you get your performance appraisal or performance review. And in some cases, some startups, they also do quarterly also, because every appraisal gives you some raise in terms of the salary, or in some cases it gives you some raise in terms of your profile also in your. Yes, right. In terms of your position also. But usually the performance review or the performance appraisal happens once in a year. Now, the objective of appraisal is, again, it's this, as we were discussing, that once you join any organization, there are always two ways. One is the management, one is the employee. Now both have to balance it out, and there is an expectations from either sides. You as an employee expect that I should be getting this much raise, or I should be getting this much incentive, or I should be getting promotion within 1 year or 6 months, whatsoever it is. So this performance, and as an employer, as a management, what we expect from you, or what management expects from you, that you should be doing your performance as per the expectations. You should be achieving more than your target, and moreover, you should be behaving well in terms of making sure that you're working in a good team. So the objective is of any performance appraisal system is that it always establish a two-way communication, sets your target, what exactly you need to achieve, whatever the deficiency or whatever the gap you have, you fulfill those gaps. It gives you the idea whether a certain team requires any kind of training, or they require any kind of development. If someone is doing great, there should be some kind of rewards or not, or someone who as a management feels that they can be promoted to the next level. In all these things, appraisal always helps, because appraisal is all about numbers. It's all about the data. So, like for example, just give me 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 second. So appraisal is all about the numbers. You're always given a grading system. You're always given the numbers. So when you talk in numbers, it's very easy to identify whether you're doing good or whether you're doing bad. So in an appraisal, usually you guys must have known that also, that usually the appraisal is done by your supervisor or your immediate supervisor or your managers. Now, in any kind of appraisal, there are three parties involved. One is the appraisee. Appraisee means the person whose appraisal is getting done. Another one is the appraiser, the person who is doing your appraisal. And then obviously HR department, which works as a mediator, and they actually try to find out the overall grading. Now, there are different contents of a performance management system, but broadly, as I told you, the content would be in terms of your work related and in terms of your behavior related. So some of the regular contents of any performance management system is, first is the attendance, whether you're able to work in a group or not, whether you are able to, whether you have any kind of initiative skills or technical skills, are you able to grasp the new things quickly, do you have, are you working with honesty and sincerity, are you good at time management, are you good at communication, do you know your job well, do you know your product well or not. So these are some of the broader categories, but broadly speaking, two are the two major categories in any appraisal system. One is your behavior related, like your communication, your team skills, your leadership skills. These are the part of your behavior related, while job knowledge, attendance, your target achievement, these are the part of your job related stuff. Now, appraisals have a certain forms. Before I come to that, just for your information, so how does appraisal happens is that you have to fill a form, or your supervisor fills a form on different parameters, on different on different codes. I'll show you one form also once I complete this. So you have different you have forms, and on the basis of that form, different parameters like achievement of target, areas of improvement, all these things are the part of your appraisal form, and you're given a marking between 1 to 5. So just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can show you that. Okay, just 1 second. So just sharing one form with you guys. This is just a sample form, but let me see. Yeah. So you guys must have seen that also, or someone who is already working, they must be they must have seen that. So usually this is how you get an appraisal form. Different forms for different categories, like different form for staff, different forms for managers. So different forms. But usually this is how your appraisal form looks, where your name is mentioned, the person who, and your designation is mentioned, the department you're from, and your yeah, anyone has any question? I'll just finish it off, then I'll take the questions. So, and then who is doing the appraisal, what's your relationship with him, whether he's your immediate supervisor or he's your managers or project managers. And then you can see here that there are different pointers on which you are judged. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these points are given. So, and this is just a sample form, as I told you. Different forms will have a different categories, like this is related to customer focus, so follow the instruction to the satisfaction of the superiors, aims to develop a good relationship with internal and external customers. So you are given the marks, you can see that. So this is how exactly the form looks, different forms. I will just show you one more. This is just a sample, but I'll show you one real-time appraisal form. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I think you guys can see that. So this is a real time performance evaluation of a person called Rajiv Ranjan. And you can see that his name, and this is the company called Educate Girls, that is an NGO. So you can see here that everything is mentioned: performance evaluation, your code, your name, your department, everything is mentioned here. And then some KRAs and KPIs are mentioned. And then if you look at this, there are two broader parameters. One is the achievements, that is related to your work, related to your target, like how many girls you have enrolled, all these things. And then you are given the different marking, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatsoever it is. And then there is another broader parameter. Just let me show you that. That is related to values. If you guys can see that, that is related to values. So this value is behavior related, while this achievement is, one second, let me check. Someone is asking some questions, I guess. Yeah. Not visible. Let me just make it slightly bigger. I hope that is visible. So you can see this one is, no, not this one. One second. Yeah. So you can see this one parameter is values, which is related to like gender equality, integrity, empathy, then collaboration, excellence. All these are the parameters you have on which you're given the marking. And then this one is related to your work, like your achievements, how many targets you have achieved. This is related to that. I'm sharing my screen. I don't know why it is not visible. But anyways, I'll just come back to the same old slide. So this is the way you in an appraisal, you always have a form to fill, and then once on the basis of that form, you are given the marking. Let's say, for example, if there are 20 questions, 20 parameters, on those 20 parameters, if you achieve 4 on an average, so you achieve 80 marks. In total, it is 100 because the maximum mark is 5. So 80 divided by 100, you get 80% of the marks, and then you are given the grading as per that. So every appraisal system has a grading, which you guys have to understand. Fine. Now, coming back to the methods of appraisal. So there are some traditional ways of doing the appraisal, and there are some modern ways of doing the appraisal. So one of the oldest method of doing the appraisal is the graphing rating scales, in which one again it's like, you are given your, like you saw that form in which you're given the marks and you're given the total percentage. While in graphing rating, whatever the marks you achieve, that is always represented in the form of graph. So just like this, you can see the form also, the same form which I was showing you, and you are given 5 marks. You are given 5 marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whichever your manager feels that you falls into this. Accordingly, you will be given the marking, and then after that grading is done, your appraisal is shown in the form of graph. Another oldest method is the ranking method, in which again, as the name suggests, instead of giving you a complete a mark like 4, 5 grade or 80% or 70%, you are actually being ranked like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like it is done in school. So in the same way, you are being ranked, and depending upon the ranking, whatever the increment or whatever the whatever the promotion is required, that will be given to you. Now coming to instead of traditional method, which is the most, one second, which is the most popular method nowadays, and that is one of the most followed method which people are doing nowadays, that is the 360-degree method. I'll come to that later. This is the one which is being followed nowadays, which is 360-degree feedback. So what does this mean is, as the name suggests, 360-degree is the circle. So it means you are being appraised by everyone who is directly or indirectly related to you. So as you can see, what is 360-degree feedback is that it's a multi-rater feedback system. So usually in other appraisal system, and this 360-degree is actually being followed by almost all the organizations nowadays, because that gives more transparency, less biasness. People are less biased towards you, because you're not being appraised by one person, but you're appraised by multiple people, multiple persons. So this is the reason people are actually practicing this 360-degree appraisal form. Yeah, one second. One second. I'm sharing my screen again. Can you guys see it now? Okay, fine. So 360-degree appraisal method is the most popular appraisal method because the reason is you're not being appraised by one person, you are being appraised by multiple people, by your supervisor, by your friends, by your colleague, by your supervisor's manager also. The advantage of 360-degree feedback is that it gives you more transparency, less biasness. There is I mean, one person can be biased, not everyone can be biased towards you. So that is the reason the 360-degree method is always preferred choice. Now usually in 360-degree method, as I told you, that your feedback form or your appraisal form is being filled by multiple people. So it could be your internal customers, like your customer. You guys must have experienced that also when you are getting a call from, let's say, Vodafone, Idea, or maybe any Flipkart. Or for example, if you must have seen this also, that someone who is delivering you any product, like in of the e-commerce company, they always ask you to give them a rating of 4 because they are being rated, they are being judged on the basis of that. In 360-degree, you have this internal customer, then your boss gives you the appraisal, then you yourself rate, and then your team members and some colleagues of yours. So this is where the 360-degree method is always preferred. Now one of the major problems related with appraisal is that, and this is where this 360-degree method comes into the picture, that in appraisal it's very easy to become biased, it's very easy to become, it's very easy to have a prejudice. So to stop all those things, one second. Okay, so to stop all those things, this 360-degree method is always preferred choice, because the reason is, in 360-degree you have got multiple people rating you, you yourself also rate. So on the basis of that, then HR decides that how much grading or how much ranking will be given to you. All right, so I'll just show that form one more time if you guys have missed out that form, and let me see if you can see that. One second, I'll just show that form to you if you guys have not seen it. So as I was saying, the appraisal form always have two parameters broadly. One is related to your work, and the another one is related to your, if you guys can see me, I'll just send me a message if you can see that or not. Okay, so I think you guys can see that. Fine. So not this form, I have another form. This is just a sample form, but I'll show you the real one. Okay, so you guys can see this in this performance appraisal. The things which are mentioned is your, what is the range of your evaluation, the name of the person, appraisee who is being appraised, and the person who is appraising, Brijesh Kumar Sinha, and the date of appointment, or what is the all these things. And then you have this achievements, the very first parameter. So what does this mean? Achievement is that this is related to your target only. One second, not visible, I don't know. Is it visible now? But anyways, I mean, I'm not sure, could be something in this word, but so this is what I was talking about. This appraisal is related to your work as well as it is related to your to your behavioral skills also. Okay, guys. So, any question in terms of appraisal before I move on to the next topic? All right, no problem. So now I will be moving on to this employee engagement and the grievance handling. So everyone likes to be happy in any organization they are working, isn't it? You know, the thing is that once you're joining any organization, what you want, I would not say exactly the ideal place to work, but you want that organization should be good to work. And that is the reason you guys must have seen this survey also, where it says one of the most preferred place to work, we are ranking second in that, we are ranking third in that, or we are ranking among 10 top 10 employers for a good place to work or best place to work. Why these things are happening? The reason is why these things are happening, because first thing first, we are trying to attract a better manpower, we are trying to attract a good talent, and this is where we are advertising ourselves that we are a good place to work at. Now, how do you make that good place to work at? It starts from the very first beginning, you know, the time a guys is entering your organization. But one of the critical part is that what kind of employee engagement activities you have. Now the question is, what does this employee engagement means? So because see, once you're working somewhere, you will have different problems, different issues, and you would like that issues to be resolved. So this employee engagement activity is actually one of the part of grievance management system. So there are two ways of handling the problems. One is you have a proactive approach, and the another one is you look for the solution. Now employee uh, no, see, in there are no format as such in. Okay, I'll share that uh, file, and I'll share that 360-degree format one more time. Just one second. कोई वीडियो कॉल कर रहा है? Okay, just one second, guys. Let me show you the 360-degree appraisal one more time. So this is how exactly the 360-degree work. You have got multi-rater system. It's a multi-rater system. So you have got multiple people. If you can see that, this is how exactly the 360-degree work. This is how exactly the 360-degree format works. You have got multiple people appraising you, your internal customers, your external customers. Internal customers could be your colleague, peers, almost the same thing, your colleague, then your team members, you yourself, and your boss. So multiple people rate you in that system. That is the reason it is called 360-degree feedback. Now coming back to this employee engagement. So employee engagement activities are the proactive ways of handling any kind of grievances. And obviously you have the reactive ways in which you will come to that later, boss. Just going one by one, we are coming to that employment law or labor laws, which you're saying. That will be discussed once this employee engagement activities would be covered. So I'll just finish it off first, and then I'll come to that also. Fine. Okay, so this employee engagement activities, as I was saying, that is a very proactive approach of handling any kind of grievances. So engaged, as the name suggests, employee engagement. So it means person who is engaged to his work, who is enthusiastic about his work, and who has a positive frame of mind in terms of towards his work and towards the organization. Those people are called the engaged people. So what does exactly this employee engagement means. So employee engagement is a kind of activities or the kind of work which is being done from the management side, so that the people can be like there are three kinds of people. One is the engaged people, highly engaged people, and then you have got people, disengaged people. So the objective of any kind of employee engagement activities is that whoever people are engaged, you make them highly engaged, and the people who are disengaged, they should be at a level of engaged. So to do that, to bring this proactive approach of employee engagement activities, people do different companies have got different ways of doing it. You must have seen that some companies have employee satisfaction survey, some companies have family day, some companies celebrate your birthday, they have, you know, the annual function day, they have this, you know, reward and recognition program so that you can feel good about yourself. They give you, so they try to make some work life balance also. All these are the part of employee engagement activities. But to get all these things done, the person, or the person who is most critical or most important is your immediate supervisor. You guys must have heard this phrase also, that, you know, you do not leave your company, you leave your boss, you know. So that is the reason the uh, role of this supervisor becomes very critical. Now, as I told you that this employee engagement activity is the proactive approach of taking care of your grievances, taking care of any problems you come across, so that the employees can be more engaged, more positive frame of mind, and they should be working they should be working towards their project in a more positive frame of mind, so that they can, you know, they can fulfill whatever the company is trying to achieve. But whatever we are saying, even though there are multiple employee engagement activities, multiple things, but still the grievances would be there. Like, you know, like take the example of your state, or take the example of India also. Even though whatever government does, we always have something to complain about, or some kind of issues, genuine, non-genuine, whatsoever it is. So this is where, you know, the reactive approach of handling the problem, what we call is the grievance management. So I would not get into these definitions as per the ILO and Dale, but in a very simple term, grievances means that you have some kind of discontent, some kind of dissatisfaction, or some kind of issues between you and the management, and sometimes your colleagues also. So in a very simple term, grievances means any kind of issues related to your work, or related to maybe some kind of your personal front also at your workplace. That is what exactly the grievances are. Now the question is, why grievances arise? In a very simple way, you are expecting something and that is not being fulfilled. This is where you become dissatisfied and the grievances happens. So as I told you, that employee engagement activities always have these four things in the mind also, that they feel that employees is expecting this and we should be doing that, but still the grievances would be there. So there could be different reasons for grievances. One could be in terms of you know, in terms of the economic, means your salary, incentives, any kind of extra money which which should be given to you, but that is not given to you. Work environment, like your colleagues, your friends, physical infrastructure, then obviously the work group, the team which you are working on, whether you are happy with them or not, and supervisor, obviously that is one of the major factors in terms of your grievances. And then some miscellaneous activities that could be, let's say for example, you're working in a company which gives you a cab, and the cab does not come on time, and because of that you always, every day you get late, or every day you get delayed. So different reasons for grievances, but these are the broader aspects, like it could be economy, work environment, supervision, work group, and miscellaneous activities could be there. Now, employee engagement activities are proactive ways of handling your grievances. But if you are coming across any kind of problems, then you need to have a proper grievance management system. So grievance management system is nothing but it's a formal way of dealing with any kind of complaint, any kind of issues, any kind of problem. So what does it mean is that the time the grievances comes to you, you should start documenting each and everything. In grievances, there is always two party, and HR works as a mediator. So you will have someone who is complaining against someone, and there is another party who has received the complaint against. So once you have everything documented, everything formal, it's easy to manage those grievances. Now, why this is required? So that you can have a good, healthy relationship between employer and the employees, a very clear and transparent framework if you come across any kind of problems, and obviously there should not be any biasness or prejudice towards anyone. So it should be equal treatment for everyone, and whatever the solution you're giving, it should be fair and reasonable. Just one example, let me tell you. Every day we come across one of the major issues in our organization is the leave. The complaint is that I'm not getting my leave while my colleague is getting leaves. My supervisor is biased towards me. He's not giving me the leaves. He's just favoring another guy. So different issues comes up. Now you as an HR has to have a very documented way, a very documented formal way uh, through which those grievances can be handled. And one of the best way of handling the grievances is that it should be the first window resolution. What does it mean is that once anyone is coming to you with a problem, you should not delay it. You should not say that, okay, that's not my area, you should go to this area. Let's say, for example, salary. So if someone is coming to the HR and you're like, that's not our area, you have to go to the accounts, you have to check with them, all these things. So, but even though those are not your problem, those are not related to your work profile, but if you are the one who can help the employees in handling that problem, in giving the solution, then you always have a more satisfied employee and a happy employee. So always try to provide the single window resolution, and obviously you should always give a tag or turnaround time, that how much time will it take to complete that grievances. Now there are different ways, there are different procedure of handling the grievances. One is the open door policy, and the another one is the step ladder policy. Now what does it mean? Or as the name suggests, open door policy means that, before I get into the open door policy, let me get to the step ladder policy. So step ladder, as it says, that you have to go through the different hierarchy. Like take your example, anyone can take your example of yourself. If you have any issues, the first person you approach is your supervisor, then your supervisor approaches his manager, then his manager approaches HR. So there are 3 to 4 stages through which it goes before your problem reaches to the concerned person. Now, whether it's right or wrong, it all depends upon organization working style. But sometimes the step ladder policy or the hierarchy takes more time, and that becomes more grievances, or that make the grievances more grave for any employee. So that is the reason nowadays most of the companies are following this open door policy also. It means that you can skip your supervisor if he's not solving your problem. You can skip your supervisor manager also, and you can directly go to the higher management if you feel they can only resolve your problem. So as the name suggests, step ladder is more into the hierarchical, everything you have to go step by step, while open door policy is that you can directly approach the top management as per your choice and uh, as per your requirement. Now, a good grievances are always, as I told you, it should be formal, it should be in writing, everyone should be given the equal treatment, and make sure that you have a proper time frame or a single window resolution that should be done. Now, once you come across any problem, you as an HR, or you as a person who is handling the grievances, you will always have to go through the interview. You'll have to take the interview of both the parties, the person who has the complaint or the person who has the complaint against. So you talk to both the parties, try to understand whether the problem is or the complaint is genuine or not, and make sure that while taking that interviews, one should not have any kind of prejudice, one should not have any kind of biasness towards, like, it's very easy to do that, it's very easy to happen. Like for example, I I am an HR, and I have a very good relationship with the supervisor, and one of his colleague has complained against him. So I as an HR is thinking, no, that complaint is not genuine. He's just doing that complaint for the sake of doing it. But so you should never be prejudiced. You should never have those kind of biasness in the mind. And whatever the decision you come to, always refer to the company policy. Always refer to that, what kind of solution can be given in terms of any problem which arises in that particular situation. So this is how exactly, we handle this grievance management, these grievance problems. Okay. Any question, guys? Anyone has any question? Now I'll be coming to this labor laws. So I'll just quickly go to that. If you guys have any question, you can ask right now, and so that I can answer it before I move into that labor laws. No? Okay. All right. Fine. So now I'll move to the labor laws. And before I move into the labor laws, just one second. Okay. So now, once you establish a company, once you establish any kind of organization, you have to follow some of the government norms, some of the government regulations, some of the government laws, as a matter of fact. Now, the question is, why, once you start an organization, you have to follow those rules? So, as I have discussed in the beginning itself, labor laws, or IR, what you call as the industrial relationship, is a completely different sector altogether. But once you join any company as an HR, you have to follow some of the labor laws, or you can say in a very simple word, you have to follow some of the compliances. Fine. Now, why those compliances are made mandatory by the government, or why you as a company have to follow those compliances? So the reason is government wants to protect the rights of the employees. The government wants to protect the rights of any person who is being employed. So that is the reason there are different laws. There are some different labor laws which are being made in India, and you as a company have to follow those rules. So I'll be just discussing 3 to 4 labor laws which are being usually used, and then I'll be discussing some part of PF and ESI, which is the regular compliance you as an HR would be following once you join any kind of organization. So why these rules are here, as I told you. But when this labor laws was made, these were made keeping in mind that when it was the factories or manufacturing industry was actually prevalent. But nowadays, we have more of a service industry as compared to the manufacturing industry. So some rules are for the factories, some rules are for the service industry. But one of the major rules which all the companies follows, that is Factories Act 1948. So this Factories Act 1948 is not only for the factory. Just understand, this is not only about the factory. This is about all the organization, whether it's whichever sector you are. All sector organization have to follow this Factories Act. Now, this Factories Act focuses more on the welfare and the health and safety of the employees. So once you start an organization, it's not only that you're responsible for paying the salary only. You also have to make sure that your employees are well taken care of in terms of their health, in terms of their safety, or in terms of their welfare. So this Factories Act 1948 focuses on that. And this act, as you guys can see it, this act applies to all across India, wherever you have 10 or more people employed, and There's something it called if run with power. It means that you're not doing only manual work, you're doing some kind of electric work. And 20 people if we are running without power. So in a very simple term, you can understand that if you have an organization which has got 10 people, more than 10 people, you have to take care of the health, safety, and the welfare of your employees. So different rules and regulation it has. So I'll quickly cover it up because that is a very extended file. So as per the labor laws, you have to provide the working hours only for 9 hours. It should not be exceeding more than 48 hours in a week. Then you should pay the overtime wages. You should pay double the rate of the overtime wages, and you have to give the weekly holiday. You have to give 1 day of leave between the 10 days of work. So it should not be exceeding more than 10 days of work, and there should be a rest of half an hour. If there is a shift of 9 hours, then it should be like not more than 5 hours. You should have a half an hour of rest also. Now, there should not be a child labor. Now, as it says that, in factories, the definition of child labor is different. The age is different. Nowadays, it is 16 years, but earlier it was 14 years. So, and there are some different laws related to the employment of women, like women cannot work in night, women cannot work more than 9 hours. All these things are related in this Factories Act of 1948. Now, but as the time has changed, as I told you, the time has changed. Now there are BPOs, there are IT companies coming up. So the rules have also changed. So if women are working at night, you have to give them the proper adequate infrastructure, proper safety and health equipments, each and everything you have to give. The same Factory Act says that you have to provide them the leave, 1 day leave in 1 month or every 20 days, and those should be the paid holidays apart from the regular holidays which are being done. As per the government laws, you should have the encashment of leaves also, but I'm not going through those factories. And another important law which all the companies follow, that is Minimum Wages Act. Okay, this is Standing Order Act, Industrial Employment Standing Order Act. As I told you, these are a completely different subjects altogether, but just giving you the brief quickly. So Industrial Employment Act, or the Standing Order Act 1946, discusses more about the terms and conditions between the employer and the employees, like on what terms and conditions, like your salary, how much salary you'll be getting, on what date you'll be getting your salary, how much leaves you'll be getting, all these things. So whatever is what is your place of work, everything. So it discusses about all those things, which are the terms and conditions between the employer and the employees, and it applies to every companies, every industrial establishment which has more than 100, or in some states which is more than 50. One second, someone has a question, so let me just check that question. See, whatever you are saying about this 1 hour of break, that is not that is actually done as per the understanding between employer and the employee. See, not every company strictly follows the labor laws, which are very strict. So like for example, as per the government rules, you have to give half an hour of break, but people gives you 1 hour of break also, 1.5 hour of break also. So it depends upon companies to companies, but as per the employees, as per the labor laws, you should be getting the half an hour of break and the leaves during your work or working month. So this is what exactly the labor, but again, the labor laws is not a topic which can be covered in 15 minutes or half an hour. So it's a kind of topic which is completely, a different syllabus. As a matter of fact, if you study in colleges, uh, it has a different, a different certification altogether, as a matter of fact, because people who are interested in labor laws or who are interested in higher career, they also do the corporate laws also, so that, if any kind of legal issues comes, that can be taken care of. But anyways, coming back to the Standing Order Act. So Standing Order Act is the terms and conditions between the employer and the employees, and that applies to all the establishment where we have more than 100 people, or in some states more than 50 people. So why this is required? The significance is that it's more like what you see in your appointment letter. That is what exactly the standing order is all about. What kind of code of conduct you have to follow. See, technically someone is asking question, if is it illegal to work in morning at some places and in night at different place. Now it all depends that what kind of appointment or what kind of terms and conditions you have signed with one employer. If your first employer of day says that you cannot work at multiple places, then obviously that is illegal. But if that is not mentioned anywhere, they only want you to work 9 hours or 10 hours during the day. During the day you cannot work at a different place, then that is not illegal. It all depends upon organization to organization, but there are no labor laws. See, understand, the labor laws are only for the management, not for the employees. Understand this part. Those are made for the welfare of the employees, not for the welfare of the employers. So the question which you are asking, I'm answering that question. Employment law allow for it or not? Employment law is not for the employees. Employment law is only for the management or the businesses. So you as an employee, if you are getting multiple opportunities, work at night or work at day, government is not going to interfere in that. But the question, the question here is your first employer allowing you, or your another employer allowing you to work at multiple places or not? If it is written, if it is in the writing that you are not allowed to work at two different places at one instance, then they can file a case against you. That is what exactly it is. But anyways, so the Standing Order Act, as I told you, is the terms and conditions between your employment. It's more like your appointment letter which you get, the code of conduct and all these things which are mentioned in there. Okay. So as you can see, the Standing Order Act is being created by, Standing Order draft is being created by the management, in which they mention all the things when the standing order has come into the picture, the definitions, the classification of the employees, everything is being defined in details, and accordingly, the things are being done, the terms and conditions are being decided, and I'll come to that later. Okay, now another important factor is the Minimum Wages Act 1948. As I have told you, again I'm repeating myself, the employment laws are made for the organizations, not for the employees. That is for the welfare of the employees. So if you have any disputes, any problems between you and the employer, and that cannot be resolved amicably, or that cannot be resolved by dialogues or by talk, then you always have the option of going to the labor court, and where it would be resolved as per the labor laws created by the government of India. So another very important aspect of labor laws is the 1 second, Minimum Wages Act 1948. Okay, yeah, Minimum Wages Act 1948. So as it says, the Minimum Wages Act, that you have to provide a minimum wages to each and every employees once they are working for you. Now in this one there are three categories. One is the skilled employees, one is the semi-skilled employees, and another one is the non-skilled employees. So like skilled employees are the IT employees, semi-skilled could be those people who are working like as a carpenter or working as the mechanic. All these comes into the part of semi-skilled, and the non-skilled employees are the labor who does the physical work. So depending upon all these three categories, the government has decided the minimum salary or the minimum wages which has to be paid by each and every employer. Now it keeps on changing, and there are different versions or different rules for sweated labor. Means it's the labor, the employees. It does not mean anything else. Sweated labor means you're giving your sweat, you're giving your time, and you should be getting paid for that. That is what exactly sweated labor is. So again, coming back to the same, so center and state, different states have set different minimum wages, and center has decided one minimum wages for different categories. Like for example, I guess in Karnataka 8,000 rupees is the minimum wages for the skilled people. You cannot pay less than that, depending upon that. But the overall objective of the minimum wages act is that, so that you have to pay, or you as an employee get the fair price, you as an employee get the required amount of money, so that you can run your life. That is what exactly it is. So as an employer, your responsibility is that you should follow the directions and fix the wages as per the fixed by government of India or government of any particular state. So let's say, for example, if the minimum wages says 8,000 rupees, so you can either give more than 8,000, or you cannot give less than 8,000 rupees. That is what exactly the minimum wages act talks about. Now another very important labor laws which has to be followed by each and every organization in the country is Payment of Wages Act 1936. What does it mean is that, let's say for example, if you're working for, like, minimum wages act, that you have to pay the minimum salary or minimum wages to the people. This Payment of Wages Act says that you have to pay the money to the people. You have to give the monetary benefit to the people. You cannot simply get the people to work and you don't pay them monetary benefits. No, the monetary benefit has to be there. So this Payment of Wages Act focused on wages to all different class of people, certain classes of people, and this is for whole of India. And in this act, you as an employer have to fix a wage period, like your salary period, and as per the law, every month you should be paying the salary to each and every individual who is working for you. Now, different rule comes, some companies follow, some companies does not follow. So as per the Payment of Wages Act, you should be paying salary max to max 7th day of a month if you have less than 1,000 people working for you. If you have more than 10,000, more than 1,000 people working for you, then it should be 10th day of the work. Now if you guys can see this, it says no payment in kind. It means as per the Payment of Wages Act, you have to pay them the salary. You cannot simply tell them, boss, thank you very much, I'm very kind to you that you have done my work. No, if they are formally employed to you, if you have got this terms and conditions, written agreement between employer and the employees, and you're working for them, then there has to be the monetary benefit, and that monetary benefit has to be as per the Minimum Wages Act. So Payment of Wages Act ensures that you should be getting the money for your work, and Minimum Wages Act ensures that whatever is the minimum amount needed, that has to be paid. Now there are some deductions also from wages, like, but different reasons for different organizations. But usually if you're absent from your duty, any kind of property you have damaged, any kind of amenities is provided to you, house and all, then these things are getting the deduction from your side. Now then you have some ESI, PF, any kind of fund deduction. Those are the deduction that can only be done from the wages. All right, guys. So these are some of the major laws. Then you have Maternity Benefit Act. Then you have, there are different laws also, but these are the major laws which are being followed. But I would not get into all those. So let me just discuss something more important about the compliances. uh, that is related to PF and ESI, because these are the two compliances which are being regularly followed by all the companies. So like PF, as the name suggests, that is provident fund, and ESI means employee state insurance. Now, provident fund nowadays is optional. Earlier, it was mandatory. You have to take that provident fund, and you did not have the option of doing it. But nowadays, government has allowed that no, you can have the option of whether you should be getting those PF deducted or PF deducted or not. Now, the PF deduction has to be from the either sides. What does it mean is that, let's say for example, if you are paying PF, then some amount of money will be deducted from employee's salary, and the same amount will be provided by the employer also. So let's, for an example, if your PF deduction is 1200 rupees, then the same 1200 rupees has to be paid by the employer also. So this is how exactly this PF deduction works. No, I don't have the screen share. Let me see. I don't have anything to share for the screen for this. Okay, let me see that. I have something for PF and ESI. Let's see. Okay, I'll just show that to you. Okay, 1 second. It is in a Word file, so I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Let's see. So now coming to how much is the deduction which is being done in the PF. In PF, the current deduction is 12%. Earlier it was 12.5%, but the now new regulation is 12%. And that 12%, again, understand guys, earlier it was only being deducted from base salary, but now, as you can see, it says base salary, but now it is changed to base salary plus HRA. What does it mean is that earlier, let's say for example, if your basic salary is 20,000 rupees and 12%, so only 2,400 rupees was, like let's say your salary is 10,000, then 1,200 rupees will be deducted from your salary, and 1,200 rupees will be provided by the employer. That is how exactly it used to work. But now it has to be the combination of 12% has to be the combination of base salary plus HRA. Now, there is in PF, there is a bracket, there is a limitation of deducting the money, and currently that amount, fixed amount is 1,800 rupees. What does it mean is that you cannot deduct more than 1,800 rupees as a PF, regardless of whatever salary they are getting. So even if your salary and base salary and HRA is 20,000 rupees, and as per 12%, that is going to be 2,400. Employer cannot deduct 2,400. They have to deduct maximum of 1,800 rupees. That is the limit. Okay. Now, in ESI, the bracket is 4%. Now, the difference between the ESI and the PF is that ESI is being deducted on your gross salary. Like if your salary is 21,000 rupees, then the ESI will be deducted 4%, which is 840 rupees. Understand, ESI is not deducted for and it's mandatory. ESI is mandatory and it is not being deducted for all the employees. There is a limit. Earlier, the limit was 15,000 rupees per month salary. Then it changed to 18,000 rupees per month salary. Now, the current limit is 21,000 rupees per month. It means someone who is falling in the bracket of 21,000 rupees per month So someone who is getting a salary of 20,000 rupees per month, till that level only the ESI is being deducted. Someone who has a salary of 25,000 rupees per month, their salary, their ESI will not be deducted. So the PF is 12%, which is the regular compliance, and the ESI is 4%. That is, the maximum limit is 21,000 rupees. If someone who is falling beyond the salary bracket of 21,000 rupees, there would not be any ESI deduction. Below 21,000, all the employees have to pay the ESI deduction. While in in this one second, while in PF, you have the option of whether you would like to deduct the PF or not, and the deduction of PF is 12%, and that has to be between that, and there is a bracket of 1800 rupees. You cannot deduct more than 1800 rupees as a salary. Anything else? So I'm done with the labor laws and I'm done with the compliances, guys. Any question you have, you guys can ask. And the session is finished. Any question related to anything, you guys can ask. See, the ESI registration, someone is asking how long does it take for the ESI registration? Usually the ESI is being registered within a week or 10 days, because every 15th of every month that ESI has to be paid. But because now the process has also become faster nowadays. Everything is being done digitally, so it does not take more than a week's time nowadays. Okay, so someone is asking, please explain open door policy and step ladder policy. So in a very simple term, I'll explain you. Step ladder policy is that if you have any issues, any complaint, you have to follow a procedure. You have to go stage by stage. You have to follow step by step. Now, while it means, let's say, for example, if you have the salary issue, you have to go to your HR, you have to go to your supervisor, and then your supervisor will go to his manager, then his manager will go to, you know, his manager will go to the concerned party, whosoever it is. So in that way, what happens, the time of resolving your problem becomes higher. It goes more high. So that is the reason. And the open door policy is more like everything is open to you. You can approach anyone at any point of time. You can approach anyone at any point of time. Like, for example, you can skip your supervisor, you can move on to your supervisor manager, or you can directly go to the CEO also. That is what exactly the open door policy is. It means there is no barricade, there is no division between the top management and the middle management or the entry level people. Everyone is the same, and anyone wants to reach anyone, they can reach. If they want to convey their idea, they can convey their idea also. So all right, guys. So yeah. I'm not sure. Someone is asking about the Telegram channel. I think Telegram channel. Maybe we can create and we can upload it, but at this moment we don't have a Telegram channel. But anyways, guys, it was nice talking to you. This was the fundamental classes for your HR. Now we try to cover as much as we can whatever is there in the HR course or the HRM course. But obviously, for more detailed information, there are separate classes, and that can be done. So I'll take a leave, guys, and I think.
Sorry to disturb you, Amit sir. This is Santosh here.
Yes, Santosh.
And the attendance sheet has been shared, right?
Yeah, I just shared it. Check it, everyone. Attendance sheet with the code.
Okay, I think you have shared the attendance sheet, and today's code also you have shared.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, sir. No issue. Further, I will take care. Okay. Everybody, just fill your attendance sheet. Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
the session will be
everyone.
open for another 10 minutes. Before that, whatever the issues are there, you just ping me. And Telegram channel, somebody is asking Telegram channel. I will share you the link right now through in the chat box. Hello, Amit sir.